And let me take your textbook and Charm Pascal. Excuse me. Right. So last time we talked about what is an array, and we talked that array is used to store more than one value regarding a one particular variable, right? And we get to know about what is the way that we are going to indicate or like to identify an array, right? And I think I have asked to draw this particular picture. People just confirm whether you have drawn this picture or not. Right, great, Dulari. Right, so today we are going to talk about the attributes of an array. So like when it comes to the attributes means like how we are going to assign the values to the array, and then how we are going to use the values of an array, right? And which is very easy, like if you know the picture, if you can take the picture of the array, right? So now I'm trying to yeah, I'll illustrate it on the whiteboard, people, so it will be much easier for you to understand, right? So yeah, let me take your whiteboard. Yeah, last time we talked about how this array is initializing, and how we are going to say what is the what we call the limit of the array from where it is started and from where it is ended, and the type and all these things will be initialized by this, right? If I recap it, so this is the name of the array, and we use colon to separate the array name and the keyword which indicates it is an array. So within square brackets, we specifying the starting index and the ending index, and it is separated from double dots. So double dot indicates two word, right, from 0 to 9, right? Then finally, we are indicating what is the data type, and we discuss that that an array can hold just one type of data, right? People, just a second. Right. So once we define an array, what actually happens is the computer memory will create, or like will allocate a memory space with 10 spaces. Now I'm talking regarding your example. So it's 3C6. We need another 2. And this array is given the name which is called marks according to your example. So this is the marks. So it is labeled as marks, and the indexes will be from 0. Just a second, people. Yeah. Can you confirm whether you can hear me clearly or not? Anyone? I have to switch to the headphones because it's a little bit noisy around here.
So can he?
Yeah, great. So the marks, those will be, the marks array will be labeled as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 as we defined, right? Now, this is an empty array. So first we have to assign the things to particular boxes or like the particular places. So it's easy to refer a place inside an array. How you are going to do is, it's just the name of the array that you are going to write. So you say marks, and then within square brackets, you have to specify what is the index that you are going to use. So there is no rule that you have to fill up the array starting from the beginning or starting from the left hand side. You can fill it up as you want, but one place at a time. That's how we are going to do it, right? So like marks 0, we can assign marks 0 some value. So we indicate it as the integer. We initialize it the marks array as the integer array. So we are assigning 10. So once we assign 10, this particular place will fill up with 10. And then likewise, we can fill out the things like marks 5 colon equal 30. Then this will be filled with 30, right? Then we can say marks 9 colon equal 2. So it will be filled with 2. So likewise, you have to fill up the things, fill up the boxes with some integer values. And now with some integer values means you can fill this up like this as well. So we can define x as 40, some variable, and we can say marks 3 is be assigned with x, again an integer value. In your papers, most of the time it is there in your textbook as well. They fill up some places with the help of other places value, like marks 2 colon equals marks 5 plus 10. Likewise, you can work. So mark 5 means 30, 30 plus 10 means 40. That is going to fill out to the second place, like 40. Right? So likewise, you can fill this up as much as it can. So marks 3 was fill out with 40 as well. Fill කරන්න බැරි වුණා මෙතනින් 40 assigned වෙලා, then that x is assigned to the marks 3. All right. So did you got the idea how you are going to refer, or like how you are going to fill out the places of an array, right? So these statements will help you to fill out the places. likewise. Okay, people, confirm whether is it clear or not. Right, okay. How
Yes.
about others? Right, okay, Minul. How about others? Right, great. Okay, so let's write this thing down, right? So write this thing down under the topic of, I'll write the topic right over here. Assigning values for an array. Right. No, what is it? Right. So fill it out. Let me know when you're done, people. What is it? Come. Right, are we done, people? Right. So moving to the next part. So now retrieving the values of an array is easy as this, right? So retrieving,
So if they ask to write the values of the array, should we write it in a graphical representation or like that? Yeah.
uh, like like they won't ask the questions uh, like write the values of array kind of things. Most probably they will give you a code, and if they ask you to write the output, then of course you are, if it is an array, then of course you are going to draw something like this, like draw an array, like name the indexes and put the values accordingly. Or else if they ask you to, if they give you an array and ask you to write the code to fill these arrays into the uh, places, then you have to write the code. In that case, like starting from mark 0 to mark 9, you are assigning the values. That's all. Right? So like so far the question like there were one or two questions regarding the array in the papers. They were like giving you the chance to fill the blanks. So like they give the array, they give the code with blanks, so you have to fill the blanks accordingly. Got it?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So we are going to retrieve the values. Retrieving the values of an array. So it is easy. So to retrieve, you have to call it from the index. So like we know to retrieve, we use write or write-ln, right? So I'll take a small array and I name it as X. So I'll take some different values here this time. So I'm taking strings, not X. It can be confusing. Right now, if this is the array, if the code says, like if we have a requirement to fill out or like to show what are the things inside the array, so we can write like this, write ln. First we write the array name, which is X, and let's say this was having the index of 1 2 3 4, right? So what we are doing is we are like retrieving the values like this, the name of the array and the index of the array. So if I say print x2, this will give you the output of p, right? If I do write ln x4, it will give you the output of z. and someone can do it like this. You say A equals 3 is assigned to A, and someone can say write ln xa. That will output M, right? So likewise, you can retrieve the values of an array, right? Okay, copy it down, people. And I am marking this. This is the array name. And this is the index. And it's better you write this as 3 scenarios, people, right? Otherwise, if this is going to be the same program, you are going to see P, Z, and M on same screen, right? Like 3 separate programs. Like no, Saran. Like Saran, why we use inverted commas? It is to show something as it is, Saran. Now here we are not going to show something as it is, Saran. We are just referring a value regarding a array and its index. Then api x kotu square brackets 2 කියන එක දෙපැත්තට if you put double quotes, you are going to see x square bracket 2 on the screen, not the p. Let me know when you are done, people. Right. Okay. Seems everyone getting done. All right. Let's move to the other parts that we have to discuss, right? All right. So we talk about attributes and array, right? So we talk about how we are going to refer the elements inside an array. So now we know how to define an array, how to fill an array, and how to refer an array, right? So it is easy, right? Now look at this example that they are talking about. So they use the array uh, to store like marks of 40 students with the use of 4 iteration structure, right? Now let's try to understand what really happens here, right? So they haven't give the name of the program, just the body. So they have introduced variable called maths. It is an array which start from index are start from 0 to 39. So definitely 40 student can be stored, or like 40 number of items can be stored, and it is an integer. So then I and marks are 2 variables, again, to assign integer type. So they have used the for loop here. They said I, that is the name of the for loop variable, and it is starting from 0 and goes until 39. So they have used a begin and end. This begin and end is for the for loop. Actually, they have missed the begin and end of the big program here, right? It's like after the variable declaration, there should be a begin, then the for loop should be there, right? So they take this begin and end is for the for loop, because for loop is having more than one statement, right? So in the first statement, they are asking to enter marks. Then in the second statement, they read it to the variable called marks. And then this is the important part. Here it says maths I. Now maths means the name of the array. I means the variable of the for loop. So for loops variable start from 0. So for the first time, maths I means maths 0. So they asked to assign maths 0 from the marks, right? So that marks means the marks given by this particular, like when they see this particular statement. Can may වෙලාව දීපු mark එක. So it is filled. Then I will become 1, like after this statement, it will goes back and I will increment, I will become 1. They will ask for another mark again, then read the given mark. Then it says maths I colon equal marks. Now i's value is 1. So that means maths 1 place is going to fill with the marks that he got, right? So it is the way that a for loop can be used to like fill out the array in a like in an efficient manner, right? Then අපි අපේ program එකේ එකින් එක ලිව්වා වගේ ලියන්නේ නැතුව we can do this kind of thing, right? And this is talking about assigning a value for a variable. So like I said, assign a value for the places of an array. Like I said, they have used the indexes, and they have given this num2 is 36, num4 is 60, num1 is num4 plus 15, num3 is num0 plus num2. So likewise, you can assign the marks, and you know we have written those things now. And declaring the value of array, they have used right ln, as I said, right? So right ln num3. Here in the right ln, they have used two nums, num1 comma num4. So like two values will be displayed, right? So they have given you the values 36 and 60 in this case. It's going to display. And here they have used the displaying part inside a for loop. And here it says for x 0 to 3 do. Then what they have said is write ln num x for x colon 2 or 4. Right, so that's a different one. So this is going to be the code segment which works together. So it starts from 0, goes until 3, and until that it is asked to write ln num x. So that means write ln num 0 for the first time, because the initial value of the x is 0. Then it's going to be the 1. Then it's going to be the 2. Then it's going to be the 3. Right? So that is what we call fill in the array with the help of for loop. Now in here they have used another for loop. It says for x colon equal 2 to 4, right? ln num x. So 2 to 4 means what? Like starting from 2 goes until up to 4, right? So the array that they were talking about this. So it starts from 2, goes until 4. So the third, fourth, and fifth element will be displayed, right? Yeah. So if they ask for x 0 to 4, all the elements are going to be printed, right? So likewise, you can write how you are going to retrieve the values when it comes to the these for loops and arrays, right? Okay, so the next program is little complex program, like ඔක්කොම ටික එකතු කරලා හදලා තියෙන්නේ. They are trying to write a program to calculate the total and to calculate the average and find the maximum one and like the average marks. Right. So yeah, people, so far is it clear? Just have the confirmation. Right, great.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Right in here, yeah, what I need you to do is hold on. Yeah, what I was thinking is trying to give you to write the output for this, but it will be a little bit lengthier. I'll explain. So what they have done here, they have create an array called marks, and the index are starting from 0 to 34. So how many values we can store? Yes, people, give me the answer. Yeah, how many? Yeah, 35, that's correct. Yes, Viriti. So like you can store 35 things, and there are 3 variables that they are defining as as integers, which is I, tot, and max, and average is taken as real. So then they begin the program. So the first for loop, how many lines are there for the for loop? How many statements are there for the for loop? Yes, people? Yes. How many statements are belongs to the for loop? For I equals 0 to 34, do that particular for loop.
3 step.
How many, Aminul?
3.
Yes, yes. There are 3. Right? How you are going to recognize that? Because that for has a begin and end. So in between, you got 3 statements. Right? So, yeah. What is the first statement? What's the purpose of the first statement? What is the effect of the first statement? You can type in, or you can on the mic and tell. Yes, yes, Minol. Yeah, Minol, you are correct. Dulagi as well as you too correct, right? So it reminds the user to enter a value, right? And how we are going to remind that? By displaying enter marks trace on the screen. So then what will happen with the read marks I for the very first time? And first iteration එක යනකොට read marks I වලින් සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ මොකද්ද? Yes, take a guess, people. Yes, Saran, well done. Yeah, reading the marks for the 0th index of the array, which is name is marks as well, right? And what happens with the next line? What's the purpose of this? Like, I need to know what happens there. So what is the, now assume user has given 35 as the, when he see the enter mark trace, 35 is given. So what will be the value of the total in the third line?
$35.
Yeah, 35 itself, because at the beginning, total is 0, right? And I think they have missed that particular line, saying total equals 0. Right? Without that, they won't be able to run this particular thing. There should be a statement after the begin saying tot equals 0. Right? Okay, anyway. So for how many times the for loop will iterate? Yes, people? For how many times it will iterate? Yes, yes, Viriti, that's correct. Saran, that's correct as well, for 35 times. So it will be read 35 marks. And in this statement, what is happening with this statement? So if someone asks you to explain what happens with this statement, how you are going to answer it? Like calculating the average is not a sufficient answer. You have to be more technical. This is what happens step by step. This is what happens. This is what a Pascal a compiler does. Yes, give me your own words. Everyone, please try to. Yeah, Saran, I need what happens. What is the process? It's like මොන වගේ දෙයක්ද වෙන්නේ කියලායි explain කරගන්න ඕනේ මට. What happens is it will calculate the average of the class of that subject. But what Pascal does, Pascal ඇත්තට මොකද්ද කරන්නේ? So Pascal will take the value of the total and divide it by 35. Then the answer will be assigned to the variable called average, right? So that is how you are going to write something. If the question asks, explain what really happens with this statement, right? All right, so yeah, what are they doing from this particular statement? What's the purpose of this? Yes, anyone? Well done, Dulagi. Yeah. Saran, yes. Assigning the value of mark 0. Saran, it should be assigning the value of mark 0, right? Like if you are going to write it, it's better you write on that way. Assigning the value of mark 0 to the max variable. So then in the for loop, what is the purpose of this if condition? What is the purpose of that? Assigning the value for max variable. Now, how it happens, Seren? What is checked by the if condition? What is checked by the if condition? Finding the maximum value out of what? Out of the current marks I, that means the current value that is referring on the array with the maximum value so far, right? Good, it's a good try, right? So then if the marks I means the value which you taken from the array, right, is comparing whether it is larger than the existing max value. If it's yes, then marks I will be considered as the max value. So marks I means the current value that is referring on the array, right? Yeah. Now, if the program find out the value of the max variable is 70 and the value of the average is 45.5, 70 and 45.5, max is 70, average is 45.5. What will be the output? What will be the output that you see on the screen? Like name me exactly. This is what happens. This is the output of the screen. Yes, people, what should be the output? What you can see on the screen if the values are like this. Yes. Ah, yes. Saran, it's not just 70 and 45.5, right? Yes, Dulagi, that's correct. Maximum marks equals 70. That is going to be, that is what you are going to see on the screen. Yes, Saran, I will. I will. Then the average mark equals 45.5. That will be the output. Right? Because maximum marks trace like with the equal sign will be there. Yes, Saran, that's right. Yes. Yes. Average marks equal 45.5. Yes. So that will be the output of that particular statement. Is it come one after the other or in the same line? These two sentences, is it in the same line that you are going to have this or one after the other? Why it is one after the other? Because of the right ln. Yes. Yes. Well done. Well done. All right. So now let's move to the subprograms. Right? Now, subprograms means, now it's a very important area, but in your syllabus, we are just understanding the concept, right? We are not going to do the subprograms, right? Now, subprograms are there to use a particular code statement or like particular statements, particular code segment again and again, right? So there can be some programs where you have to use the same statements, or like one or many. Like, let's, as an example, let's say there are three statements which are staying together, right? Happens one after the other, like many times during the code, right? So the picture is like this. Now, just assume there is this program. So it starts and like goes on. And there is this three statements which is going to repeat in the very similar way, like after some statements. Right? So these are called repeating statements. Yeah, Dulagi, I can give you the answer, Dulagi. Like what Dulagi is asking, why they assign the marks 0 for max at the first and then made the selection. Like, it is because, Dulagi, like if the max does not has any value, because here in the when it is initializing, we are just initializing a variable doer. We are not giving any the variable is not given any value at that point, right? So if we omit this though, if we omit this, you won't be having any marks, or you won't be having any value for max to be compared with marks I. නේද? මොකද max කියලා එක්කෙනෙක් හැදුවම memory එකේ යා place එකක් වෙන් කරනවා, so still it does not have any value, it's just a vacant space, right? So to start comparing, max should have a value, and this is one particular way that we can give a value to marks, right? මොකද දැන් මෙහෙම එකක් මෙතනදී mark 0 ගන්න එක වඩා justifiable, මොකද we don't know about this array, right? නැත්නම් කෙනෙකුට කියන්න පුළුවන් max වලට 0 අරගෙන පස්සේ maximum value හොයාගත්තා නම් හරි කියලා. But in case if they got minus values, 0 is something greater than a minus value. So it's better we go with the first value of the array. So regardless of the positive or negative or 0, we take the first value. So we always compare it with the max. So first we make the first value max. For the very first time, that particular first value will be compared with itself, right? So nothing will happen because marks I is not larger than max. It is equal because for the first time, marks I is the value of max. So it is equal. So it's not going to be true. So not going inside the if condition right over here. Like with the second iteration, correct, exactly, Dulagi. That's what they do. Then they will continue the check-in for other 35. Now, in case if they found a value which is greater than the existing max. දැන් හිතන්නකෝ very first value එක තිබ්බේ 3, එයාව max කරා. Second value එක 5. So the existing max is 3, the reading value is 5. So reading value is larger than the max. So we change the value of the max with the reading value. ඒ කියන්නේ 5 කියලා replace කරනවා. That is what they are doing over here. If the if condition is true, that is what they are doing right over here. So likewise, the max value will be checked with all 35 elements sequentially. So when you are reaching the end, it will automatically give you what is the maximum value out of those 35 values. Got it, Dua? Yes. Saran, yes, there is no any loop in the if condition, but there is a loop with the for. Right? දැන් මේ for එකට it's a good question සරන්. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒක එකපාරට බැලුවම figure out වෙන්නේ නැහැ තමයි. මේ for එකේ තියෙන එක statement එකයි, which is the if condition. මෙතනට වෙනකම්. ඊළඟට if condition එකට තියෙනෙත් එක statement එකයි, which is this. So there is a if inside a for. So according to the if, this happens. Once they done this particular thing, then it goes back here and increase the I into 2 and come back here and do the comparison. If it's true, they will do this particular part. If it is not true, anyway, it's going to go and check the for loop. Right? Good. You are asking the questions means you people are trying to figure this out. That is what you need. Right? Figure it out by yourself. That's what programming needs. Right? Okay, so let's move to the subprogramming part. Now, this is the same code segment. Repeating several times. All right. So now if we do this particular manner, if we maintain this particular manner in the code, now if this repeating code segment is going to repeat for like 30 to 40 times or like 200 times, it will make your program lengthier and inefficient because you are having the same code in everywhere, which is the duplicate codes. So it will make the code lengthier anyway. And the Pascal will consume more time to read each and every code segment, or like each and every repeating code segment. So instead of this, what they have done is, what programmers have done is, they have this repeating code just for once, right? But they write it inside a function. Right? So what they're doing is they are taking the component called function. So they write 3 things according to this example. Then this is the end of the function. Right? And then what they are doing is, whenever they want to call, or like whenever they want to repeat this code segment, they will call the function. So it's just one statement. Then the rest of the statements will be repeated. And whenever they want this, they will call the function. So when they call in it, it will goes back and will do the function's body and will return to the next statement. Right? When it calls again, it goes back, do the things that they need, and return to the next statement. Okay, people, tell me whether you get the concept. අපි repeat කරන්නේ නැතුව අපි එක තැනක ලියනවා, ලියලා අපිට ඕන වෙලාවට අපි ඒ function එකට කතා කරනවා. That's what we call calling a function. I'll show you how it happens, but you should have the idea, right? Okay. So in Pascal, there are two types of subprograms. මේ function නෙවෙයි ඇත්තට මෙයාට කියන කියන්නේ පොදු නම common name එක වෙන්නේ it's the it's a subprogram, right? So there are two types of subprogram in the Pascal that you can find, which is called the functions and procedures, right? There are similarities, there are differences in between functions and procedures. Let's see what are those, right? So now look at this. Now this is what they are like trying to clear out, and there is no rule that you can write only one subprogram. එක function එකයි ලියන්න පුළුවන් කියලා නීතියක් නැහැ. You can write many functions, right? So if there are like code segments, like number of code segments different from each other are being used in many different places. So those different code segments which are going to be used again and again can be illustrated as functions, right? So likewise, so in my example, I'm just talking about one particular function. So there can be many code segments which is going to act in this nature, right? All right. So there are functions and procedures in the Pascal subprogramming, and this is the difference. This tells you the difference. The subprogram which returns an output back is called a function. A subprogram returns an output back is called a function. And the subprogram who's not returning something back, or like if the output is not being returned, it is called a procedure, right? So the major difference, function will return something, subprogram will never return anything, right? So what is this returning? Returning means now function has some code segments නේද? ඒ codes ටිකෙන් කරලා ඉවර වෙලා එන මොකක් හරි result එකක්. එයා ආයෙත් සැරයක් අර call කරපු තැනට යට තැනට එනකොට අරගෙන එන්න ඕනේ නම් function එක ඇතුලේ තියෙන දෙයක් එළියට අරන් එන්න ඕන නම් we call that particular thing a return. function එකෙන් එළියට දෙන දෙයක්. So I'm sorry, subprogram එකෙන් එළියට දෙන දෙයක්. ඒතර subprogram එකෙන් එළියට මොනවා හරි දෙනවා නම් we need to use a function to write that particular thing. If there is nothing to be given to outside, then we can use a procedure. But remember, if you define a function, there must be something returned to the main program or to the out of the function. If you have defined a procedure, you must not have anything returning to the outside of the subprogram. Right? Okay, let's say how they are going to do this. Now, before that, they will show you how to define a particular procedure and a function. Now, you should understand what are the things, or like what are the things in the, what are the components that they have used to define a function or a procedure. So how we are going to define a procedure, it is starting, now refer to the example, right? It is starting from the keyword called procedure, right? I'm sorry, this is the one, right? So this is a procedure to find the area of a circle. right? So it starts from the keyword called procedure. Then they will have a name to that particular procedure. And then you will have brackets. Inside the brackets, you will find some variables, right? You can say here it says var radius colon real. So it's a variable declaration, right? So what is the way? Procedure keyword is there. Name for a procedure is there. Then within brackets, there will be one or many variables. We call that particular list of variables within the brackets as parameters, right? So we call this list a parameter list, right? For the moment, just don't go to think about what are the parameters and why they use it, right? If you really want to get to know about the parameters, do ICT for A level, right? So there, with the Python programming language, we are talking about the functions, right? And when it comes to the function, right? When it comes to the function, it has the function keyword, same as the procedure. So procedure had the procedure keyword. This has the function keyword. That's how it starts. And then the procedure name, then the function name is there. Then within brackets, that variable list, what we call as the parameter list, here it is same. And there is an additional part. After the parameter list, once the brackets are being closed, then you have a colon and a data type. Colon and a data type. So why we are having that? Because it defines what is the type of the data which is going to return from this function. Like we discussed, function is there to return something out. So it should define what kind of a data that is going to be returned. Right? Okay, so it's better we write down these things, right, people? So yeah, have the subheading called use of subprograms. Right? So after that, um, yeah, it's better you draw this, and I'll change this function word into subprograms, otherwise it is a little bit deceiving. Right. Yeah. So draw this thing. You have to draw both the codes, right? And I'll write a heading at the top. program without subprograms. And this is program with subprograms. Okay, quickly draw this down. Let me know when you are done, people. Okay, one is done. How about others? Right. Okay, then the subheading, types of subprograms. You may write this sentence. If you can write it as two sentences, right? A subprogram which returns an output back is called a function. That is a one sentence. Then after and, that is the other one. A subprogram which does not give an output is called a procedure.
Last drawing for it.
Yes, Mino?
So the last drawing.
Last drawing, like
Yeah, the subprogram.
which is this one or the
No, the
or
other.
this one? No, you don't need to. You don't need to draw it.
Oh.
Are we done, people? Right. Okay, then yeah, then you have to write uh, these two things, right? So I'll take this example and I'll write it on your whiteboard. Hold on. So this is going to be declaration of a procedure. That is going to be the heading, right? Then we are going to name it as we did previously, right? Name of the procedure, name of the variable, let's say name of the parameters, within brackets variables, parameter or parameters. Then this is going to be the type. Right, the next topic is going to be declaration of a function. And for that, I'm copying the other one. This is the function name. This is again name of the function. No, name of the parameters. I'm sorry. And this is type of the parameters. And this last one, type of the return. Return data. Right. So once you're done with this, you can leave the session. All right, Dulagi, thank you very much and good night. Right, so the people who are leaving, thank you very much, people. We are going to meet on next week for the same time, right? So have a very good night, right? And we will be continuing the Pascal next week as well, right? Thank you very much, people.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir. Good night.
Good night. Diniti, we won't be able to do it because the function name or a procedure name, it's going to be a identifier doer. So in an identifier, you have to start it from a letter, English letter. Then you, for the rest of the characters, you can use letters, numbers, and the underscore. That's all that you can use. You can't use any other characters. So space is going to be a invalid character inside in between the at the middle of the name, right? So you won't be able to use space, right? Then it will give you an error.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right, okay, right, okay.